and you're watching Lunarbird Book Club. Okay, hello, welcome to my April reading journal. Today is the 13th of April, which means I'm quite late into the month before I start filming my first entry. And that's because things have just been super busy and I have so much to catch you up on. Well, firstly, I'm in like panic mode over my degree. I'm currently studying a master's in publishing, which has been so much fun. I'm nearing the end of that now, and I have 3 assignments that have to be finished by the end of the month. It's been Easter, which is a really important time for us as a family, and this week I have been to the Bologna book fair, which has been incredible. We were there Monday through to Thursday. I went with uni. I'll try and put a little bit of footage from my time there to give you a flavour of it. So the Bologna Book Fair, in case you didn't know, is a huge big industry book fair around books for children, mainly children YA, but mainly children's books. And it's a gathering of publishers from all over the world that specialise in children's books. And it's really a place where they go and make deals and negotiate rights and network and connect. And there's talks and events whilst we were there. And our university has arranged for us to meet several industry professionals and get little talks from them and career advice. And it was absolutely fantastic. I have to say, we've met so many interesting people and heard their stories over the last 4 days. People who work with books, whether that's in creative like editing or design, but also people who sell the rights and manage legalities, people in sales, people in marketing, people who deal with translation, people who arrange to have books republished in different territories around the world. And some things I've learned about the publishing industry through this course is not just about like how books are made, which of course is really, really interesting and fascinating, but also like the culture of the publishing industry itself. And again, I know I'm only seeing it kind of as an outsider, as a student, but I've met so many people now and I'm a bit blown away at just how nice people are. So many people have given their time to us this week as students in a really, busy industry week for them, where they're making deals, they're trying to make money, they've got really important meetings, and some of them have meetings from like dawn till dusk, and yet they still took their time to come and talk to us and give us career advice and ask us what our ambitions are. People were just really generous and open-hearted, and it was really cool to hear their stories. So that's been a really, really good experience. And then we had a slight issue at the end when it was time to come home. We were at Bologna airport and our flights were cancelled due to a Ryanair strike. So that was a bit bewildering. And for a few hours we didn't know what was going to happen, whether we were going to have to stay in Bologna for another day or two, or how we were going to get home. We ended up taking a later flight to Dusseldorf, and then from there we flew to Birmingham, and from there we got a coach back up to the north. And then the next day I had to go and get my husband to drive me back to Manchester Airport because I'd left my car there. I thought I'd been really clever to book my car into the parking, so I thought when I landed I'd be able to just drive home straight away, not fuss. But as it turns out, I landed at a completely different airport to the one we'd originally planned. So that was quite chaotic, and it was a long day of travelling. But our tutors were with us, we had a tour operator who looked after us, and even whilst we were stranded in the airport, we ran into 2 or 3 people we'd met during the week, and some other tutors who had taught us on our course, and industry professionals, and people kept coming to say hi and checking up on us and commiserating with us as we were all kind of in the same boat. So yeah, publishing people, surprisingly nice. Maybe it's different when you actually work in there, I don't know, but they're very nice to students, and that's to be commended. So that's why I've not updated you much on books so far, but I have been reading a lot. I have finished 3 books already this month, so let's go into that. First book that I finished was Return of the King. I've been working my way through the Lord of the Rings trilogy this year, and I finished The Return of the King on Sunday, and I was an emotional wreck by the time Sunday ended. The Lord of the Rings book, as a trilogy, each one, it holds up, and every time I reread it, different parts of it speak out to me. It's just rewarding. It's so rewarding on rereads. I see why people read this year after year after year. I probably read it every 3 years, maybe. I like to give it a bit of time in between so that it feels fresh again when I come back to it. I even really appreciate the long. We take the mick out of the movie that it has too many endings, Return of the King. But when you read the book, every ending, the final few chapters as things wrap up, it's glorious. It's wonderful. I wouldn't be without a single one of them. I love the slow unraveling of the Fellowship as they part, and it's bittersweet and it's sad, and there's a real sense of ending, not just of this story, but things were ending in Middle Earth as a result of the final battle, and every goodbye is really, really precious. Yeah, every goodbye is really precious. It's one of the things that I take away from The Return of the King, and even though goodbyes are sad, they can also be beautiful in their time. So I just find this book has so much to say. And it's funny that I think we can get dismissive of fantasy books for being escapist, flights of fantasy, not interested in the real human drama or responsibilities of being alive. But you read Return of the King and you think it's all about humanity and our mortality and our hopes and our deepest desires, and it's beautiful, it's wonderful. There's a reason why Lord of the Rings has the impact that it has, and you can only really discover it by reading it for yourself and rereading it for yourself. So yeah, that was the first book I finished in April, and it was wonderful. So the second book I finished has been Leonard and Hungry Paul. So this was published by Blue Moose Books, and we had the publisher from Blue Moose, Kevin Duffy, come and speak to us on the course. I'd already heard of this book beforehand, and I knew it was about all my Irish family were reading it last time we were over there. But to have the publisher come in, and he was talking a lot about Blue Moose Books, which was so interesting, but we talked quite a bit about this book. And then I saw it in the bookshop in Cologne, and I thought, I'm having that. So this came to Bologna with me, and this is just, and I'm having a really good reading month in April because this was so beautiful. So Leonard and Hungry Paul are about two quite quiet, retiring men who keep their world quite small and safe, and perhaps don't pick up on social cues as easily as others do. And they both reach a point in their lives where they decide that they're ready to make some changes. This book is kind of written with a real generous, understanding spirit towards people, everybody. There's nobody who is characterised as a horrible, evil person. Was it maybe one guy in IT isn't given much depth? Maybe that's the one who's just pure comic relief. But everybody's written with a bit of sympathy and kindness and generosity, which makes this book a really uplifting story to read. It's got lots of little jokes and quips in there that really made me smile. This is just a real heartwarming book that will make you feel optimistic about life and about people, which I think is no mean feat in these days. And can I say as well, if you're going to be stranded in an airport and be a bit stressed and not know how you're going to get home and whether you're going to make it in time to catch some connecting flights, this is a book you want with you. This is like a soothing cup of tea of a book, which really brings the stress down and the pressure down. So yeah, this was a very good book to read in stressful situations, and I was really grateful for it. So yeah, Leonard and Hungry Paul, it perfectly matched the hype. Anything anyone has ever said about this book, I found to be true on reading it. So I knew people had found it hopeful and uplifting and funny and sweet. and it was exactly that. And quirky as well. This is a quirky book. Yeah, just lovely experience reading that. And then I'm having such a good reading month, because then I read this also on my long travel day, because when you've nothing else to do, you might as well read your books. So I'm so glad I had 2 books with me on holiday, because in the last 2 days I also read Tree and Leaf by Tolkien. So this is a little collection of a few of Tolkien's works, and it was really good to read this so soon after finishing Return of the King. So this has an essay on fairy stories. It has a poem about a hater of myths dialoguing with a lover of myths. It had another poem about 2 soldiers trying to retrieve the body of their dead lord after a big battle. And it also has a short story in here called Leaf by Niggle, which is about a man called Niggle who's a painter, and he's trying to paint a tree, but he's so determined to get every little detail of every single leaf perfect that and he keeps getting interrupted, so that he feels like he'll never be finished with this work that he's trying to create. So it's like a little collection of Tolkien's writings that really expound upon the importance of myth and storytelling, and particularly fantasy. It's like a justification of why fantasy is an important genre in the literature world, and what that brings to us, and why do humans tell myths. This kind of took me out of myself and got me thinking about storytelling, and it made me want to write. I love books that leave me wanting to write more, and that did this. Okay, so I finished those 3 books, and I've just started today Dear Reader by Paul Fennell. I'm only in like the first 10 pages of it, but so far it is about an editor or a publisher, a guy working at a publishing house who has been given an e-reader for the first time, like a Kindle, and he's getting to grips with using the Kindle. I don't know where this is going to go, but so far it's sweet and funny, and I'm looking forward to getting into it. And that is my reading news as of the 13th of April. Hello, it is the 16th of April today, and I have a little bit of a book update for you. I will also acknowledge that my fringe is distractedly bouncy today. I think I've slept on it funny. It is determined to be bouncy. I keep trying to flatten it. We'll live with it. Anyhow, book update. First of all, I didn't finish Dear Reader. I got about 60 pages in and just felt like I wasn't that interested. I wasn't having a good time. I am being really strict with myself in putting down books that I am not enjoying. Life is short. There are so many books out there. Not every book is for everybody, and I don't need to read books anymore because I'm not studying English literature. So if I'm not enjoying a book, I'm not going to get an assignment on it. It's okay to pass up. So this is another one that I'm afraid I didn't finish. But then after that, I finished within a day Selfie Stick by Alison Hammond. This is a self-published book that's been published by a friend of mine who was on my literature and creative writing course, so I'm super proud that she has written and published a book since we graduated. She's amazing. And Selfie Stick is like a YA book about a young girl who is part of a huge family. I think she has like 11 brothers at the start, and her family are family vloggers, and her privacy keeps being invaded, and she's having a rough time of it, and then she meets somebody very nice whilst being rescued from bullies. So this was so readable. I read it within a day, and that's Selfie Stick by Alison Hammond, debut author. If you want to support her, go check it out. I'll put a link down below. I only have 3 books right now on my to-read shelf. 2 of those are comics, and then the third is Words of Radiance Part 2 by Brandon Sanderson, and that's really chunky. So I've decided to start with the Fables. I only have 2 books left to read, or 2 volumes left to read in the whole series. So this is volume 21, Happily Ever After. I think this one's called, yes, Happily Ever After. I've just started it today, So I'm thinking I'm going to read the two Fables, enjoy them, finish this series, and then with nothing else hanging over my head, I'll then get into Words of Radiance Part 2, and that book will probably take me into May because it's really big. But I quite like the idea of starting Words of Radiance when I don't have anything else going on, and I can just fall into that book and really enjoy it. And I'm already anticipating I'm going to have a good time with that. But right now, I'm just in like the first part of this Fables, and so far really good. It's making me just want to go back to the beginning and start again. Which maybe I'll do. Maybe I'll do that once Rachel gives me the books back, because she's reading the first 3 volumes, I think. So yeah, that's what we're up to. Hi, it's the 30th of April today, last day in April, and as the bluebells are in full bloom, it felt wrong not to take the chance to film a last little update out here in the garden. I have finished reading the Fables comic series. I've read Happily Ever After and Farewell, and they were both magnificent. I have so enjoyed reading this series, and I'm delighted to say that Rachel has just started reading it, and we've already filmed a review of Volume 1, which will be coming out on the channel hopefully in the next month or so you'll get to see Rachel's reactions to starting the series. And I really enjoyed reading these comics this month because I've had a heavy month with assignment deadlines and lots of work to do for uni, so actually to dive into some comic books, oh, noisy birds, so having some light comic book reading was really welcomed, and I've had a fab time. The series ends perfectly. I think my only downside now is, like, once I finished it, I had a look to see if there were any like merchandise to go with the series, because I'd love to have like a t-shirt or a jumper or something Fables related, and there's nothing out there. And I know I'm late to the fandom party because these all came out a while ago, but man, not much merch for this series. Not even like on Etsy or like fan-made custom stuff. So I'll be keeping my eye out for that. Somebody somewhere will have made for Fables merch, and if you know who that person is, please will you tell me in the comments, because I need to show my love for the series in clothing format. So somebody help me there, please. Then, after I'd finished the Fables series, I've then just finished Words of Radiance Part 2. I am still not sure if I am on board with having one book separated in 2 halves, but overall I did enjoy it. I liked perhaps the last third of this book the most. It's left me at an exciting point. Things have moved on, and I feel like the next book is probably going to be a bit more exciting, because some of the storylines that we're getting a little bit tedious for me have been kind of wrapped up for now. So I am interested to see where this series will go next. I'm now at an exciting point where Words of Radiance Part 2 was the last book on my to read pile. So I have a 0 TBR going into May. And I still don't know what I want to do first. I might want to go to the library. I might want to pick a book to reread. I might want to go and purchase some books in series that I'm reading. It's quite exciting. The new month starts tomorrow, and I don't know what I'm going to be reading. So April has been a good reading month. I feel like life has been very, very busy, so I've not done as many updates on here. But May is going to calm down a little bit, and the sun has finally come out in England. This has been like the first nice sunny warm day in like forever. So it's nice to get outside. So I'm hoping May will include lots of nice sunny reading out in the garden days. That's what I'm hoping for May. That's it for me for this vlog. Please check out Rachel's reading wrap up. That should have come out yesterday. So go look on our channel and find that. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye. Hello. Oh, there's a man there. Why is there always a man there? Probably because like he lives here and it's completely legitimate to walk down your own street.